Alright, hello. I am on a pretty short schedule today. I have no more than an hour pretty much on the dot, so I'm gonna jump right into things. I think I'm gonna start off with continuing some work on the project roadmap now. I don't believe that everything needs to be planned with a start and end date, and I think that is a bad way to manage a project, especially one that you're working on as an individual. And yeah, that's my opinion, but I do think that there are some things that need to be mapped out. So I don't know if there's a way to, can we get quarters on here so we can see through the end of December? Okay. So I think some things like project roadmap, we're going to get that done as soon as we can. Release game on Steam, that's at the end of our project, right? And then there's some other things that we can set goals for. So like let's say I had a tech demo here. Where was that? Tech demo. I want to be able to have my tech demo pretty early on. Maybe I'd want to be able to have my tech demo by the end of March. Okay. Probably also be good to have Steamworks set up pretty early on so I can start building in stuff with achievements, and I don't know. I guess in the end that stuff is sort of optional. So maybe by the end of June we'd like to have that. Once we sign up for Steamworks, then we can work on things like, well, of course, signing up for Steamworks is a prerequisite to being able to release the game on Steam. So signing up for Steamworks is not optional, but something like leaderboard support, totally optional. Maybe we have that one down here. Achievements, a little less optional. That one goes here. Oh. Add a new link to here. Let's add a new link to here. So our tech demo is way back here. Our tech demo needs to have, I'm gonna move it up here. Maybe I can have movement by the end of February, or by the middle of February. Oops. that. Need to have health and respawning. These sorts of things are requirements for tech demo. Chunk loading system, probably need that by the end of May. Save system, maybe by the middle of May. Platforms we definitely need very early on. Main menu probably can honestly come after tech demo. Tutorial, that can come after tech demo. Probably doesn't need to have the tutorial done until quite late in the game. So what sort of things do we need before movement, health, respawning? Basic attacks, we need this. Need a file system before we can do save system. And also probably before we can do a chunk loading system. Although that one might not be true. We could probably have the chunk loading system and then it just like always starts back at 0. Gameplay demo, probably end of July would be good. I'm going to have the tech demo done before that. Need to have the character design done really soon. Character design really sort of influences that. Hello, my one viewer. Set up unit test. This is something we probably want pretty early on. Probably can wait until after we have a tech demo, though. Gotta go make a new filter. Save this. Not really feeling like I need a signee or the reporter, priority, the status, resolution, definitely need this summary. I didn't see it. What the hell? So I'm gonna roughly start by sorting these guys by, or start putting in some business value of these guys, just so we start having something in here. And these are on Fibonacci scale, so it's like bug reporting value 5 or 3. It's not core gameplay, but I think Guinea design is pretty high. Game music not necessary. I think sound effects more necessary. Sign up for Steamworks. That one's critical. External playtesting. It's like a 2 in terms of value. Set up unit tests. It's not really a business value issue, that's more of a risk reduction. Actually, for that matter, so is bug reporting, but it's a little bit more valuable than internal unit tests. Gameplay testing. This is like my own testing of the game. So compared to external playtesting, probably more vital. Actually, I don't know about that. If you have external playtesting, then at least those people have heard of your game. Having 4 world regions. This is a business value. Specifically 4, maybe that's negotiable, but having different regions of the world is pretty high priority. Having textures, very high priority. Opening cinematic makes the game a lot better, but not necessary. It's a 3. File system. This one is critical. Inventory, I think also critical. Basic attacks. These guys are critical. Doors. I guess pretty critical. The game I have in mind is like a puzzle action platformer. So without doors, you have very limited puzzle. Same with buttons. Setting price point, business value, well, that's critical. Respawning. So I guess it could be an arcade game. So I don't know. It also seems like a critical feature to me, even for an arcade game. I mean, if you have to reboot the game every time, Health. Critical. Movement. Critical. Control remapping. This one is business value, but like pretty low. Chunk loading. I don't know for sure if the whole world's gonna just be able to sit in RAM and be fine, because I don't know how big it's gonna be. This is more of a risk reduction and opportunity enablement kind of thing. Like if we have a chunk loading system early on, that's good. So I'll make a note of this. We'll say it's an 8 for RROE. having a save system. Near critical. Weapon design. Without weapon design, you don't have weapons. It's not really an action platformer. I'm a little bit less tied to having it be action, though. Platforms. Without platforms, it's not a platformer. So that's critical. Auction minigame. We'll call this a 2. Hunting minigame. Probably a 1. Well, okay. We'll say, see, here's the deal. Here's where some of the issue of weighted shortest job first is. There are things that are minimum viable product that you absolutely need. I guess those should have the highest business value. Everything else should be less than that. But anything that's adding gameplay, that's business value. Minigame design, that's like near critical. Gameplay demo. Is gameplay demo critical to the business? I think no. But it is something that's very valuable. You get more customers if you have a demo. Tech demo. I'd say this has business value, but not a super high business value. Alright, enemy textures. The business value here is very high. Boss design. I guess you don't need a boss, so I'm not going to say that's critical. Character textures, critical. World textures, critical. NPC design, not minimum viable product. Town design, also not MVP. Advertising / social awareness, not MVP, but very important. Gameplay screenshots. You do need gameplay screenshots for Steam. That's minimum viable product. Cinematic trailer. Worthwhile to have that on Steam, but as long as we have a gameplay trailer on Steam, that's enough. Gameplay trailer is critical. World design. I could just start putting stuff in, but it's pretty important. It's a big RROE, I'd say. Map labels. Being able to have a world map. This is very high business value. Having a map with pins. That's worth something, and being able to label that map. Also more gameplay type stuff. Would just say it's a quality of life feature. Dungeon design. I'd say having dungeons is basically non-negotiable. World props. I think we can do without world props, but makes the game look a lot better. Character design, non-negotiable. Okay, raccoon. Raccoon is unfortunately negotiable, very negotiable. So we'll put this at a 2. Tools and equipment design. You can't really have a puzzle platformer without any tools, but you can. Just with movement and attacks you can, so put that at a 5. Okay, let's go back to our list view here, and now we have everything categorized by... Oh, I didn't get through everything? How did that happen? Oh, because the detail view only showed some of them. Okay, world environment. I think this is to be more, to add more clarification to this. This is build world environment, build and code world environment. I don't know. I guess you could just teleport from dungeon to dungeon, not minimum viable product. Main story design. Having a main story is definitely optional. But to a single player game adds a lot of value. Leaderboard support. Not even sure how I'd use this yet. So this is pretty low business value, maybe slightly higher RROE. It's opportunity enablement. Achievements. Personally, I love a game that has achievements, and if a game doesn't have achievements, I feel like I'm missing out. So, while this is not minimum viable product, it's very high business value. Graphic settings. Also not MVP, but if you don't have graphic settings, you either have poor graphics for everyone, or you block people out of being able to play the game because it's too laggy. So it's pretty high business value. Having a main menu, that's really high. I mean, I'd almost say having a main menu is critical. It's MVP. If you don't have that, it's embarrassing. So tutorial. There are lots of games that kind of just throw you into it, especially games that have a minimum viable product of being able to move and attack and jump. So I'm going to say that's a business value of 5. Localization support. This is as close to MVP as can be, probably. Being able to support different languages is incredibly valuable. I'd almost say that's minimum viable product, personally. Controller support? I don't know. I don't know many people that play on PC but then prefer to use a controller. And I'm not planning to ship this to Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, so I'm gonna do that. The only thing I can think of for controller support is accessibility, like people who need to use a special controller for some reason. But I think that those usually have external programs that are just key mappers, or like, it is low. Release game on Steam. Maybe a 1. I'm kidding. Project roadmap, I've already said the business is critical for that. Okay. I think I've gone through everything now. Let me go back to the list view. So now we should go through and start to assign RROE and time criticality to things, starting with the most important things, which is the business value, most important things. I know weighted shortest job first gives you a different priority for how to prioritize things, but yeah. If anyone's curious, the range of the range of weighted shortest job first is like 13 times 3 for business value, RROE, and time criticality, divided by a 1-point epic. So 39 is the max, and then you could have 1 plus 1 plus 1 divided by 13, a really small value here. Okay. So project roadmap, I've already filled out all of these guys here. So I've scheduled some major epics. I think that's basically done. Set up some blocking links. That one's in progress. Elaborate project goals. I think that's done for now. We're in progress on prioritizing epics. And then last will be this one. Oops. Okay, sign up for Steamworks. Risk reduction and opportunity enablement. So this opens up a lot of opportunities, but there's some things that definitely provide a lot more opportunities. Risk reduction, I don't think that this reduces risk at all. Right, that would be like technical debt, which we don't really have any of yet, because we don't have any technical. You can't be in debt on your null technical. Okay, so I'm gonna say this is an RROE of 5. I'm gonna say that signing up for Steamworks. So I don't have a good measure here for what the story points are in terms of epics. Maybe a 1 a 1-point epic is something that would take like 1 day to do. Yeah, I'll say that. I don't know. When I'm looking at epics and stuff, I usually think of it as a sort of wishy-washy, like, number of stories in that epic times the number of story points, like the average story point of those stories. It's like if you have a lot of stories, that increases the complexity. But if they're all really small, it's not as complex as having, one really big story. I don't know. I'm gonna say this one's probably like a 2-day kind of venture. And time criticality is essentially how quickly the value the business value of something drops off as you wait to do it. It's like how important is it to get done early? Like if I delay to do this, does it make it no longer valuable? There's definitely some of this. If I wait to sign up for Steamworks for too long, then I can't do I can't really do achievements or leaderboard support if I wait too long. It's probably somewhere in the middle. I'll call this one a 5. Maybe an 8. Now this one should change here soon. Okay, so now we got 11.5 for that one. File system. File system, that's probably like a 5. RROE, this one's big. That opens up a lot of opportunities. Time criticality. There's a lot of things that be gated by this, so yeah, if we wait too long to do that, then we can't. Inventory. Adding an inventory system. Maybe a 3. Now that I'm thinking about this, I actually don't know if it's a minimum viable product. Without an inventory, as long as you had like a file system, you could still say if you've like unlocked a specific item, you don't need to be able to like drop and pick up items and yada yada yada. It's gonna 8 there. Okay, the RROE of an inventory I think is lower. Time criticality. If we don't get in an inventory system, what gets affected? Our ability to have different kinds of items isn't super affected. An inventory system is more like to hold things that aren't the main items you always have. These are like optional things you can pick up and drop and buy and sell, and consumables and stuff like that. We definitely lose some value as we wait to do that. Alright, basic attacks. This one's probably pretty complex. And if we don't have basic attacks early on, then I'm worried that's going to be detrimental to making more advanced attacks. I'll call that a 5. This one's got pretty low RROE. I think business value and RROE are usually two like have this relationship where if the business value is high, the RROE is usually not as high. Risk reduction or opportunity enablement. Setting price point. Time criticality on this one's not super high. I think you can wait almost until the end to do that. Story points, this one's probably like a 1 day kind of do some calculations. Opportunity enablement. I don't think this really opens up any future opportunities. But look, because it's a short job, the weighted shortest job first is set really high. Respawning. Right, respawning, you just need to like have a list of, you need to have a list of respawn points. When you die, wait a certain amount of time, maybe have some animation, maybe have a favorited respawn location, or be able to detect the closest one from that list. Not super complex. I'll say that's a 3. No risk reduction. What are risks? A risk is something that slows your project or puts your project at risk or threatens your timeline or ability to deliver. I basically normally think of risk reduction as like you go do technical debt and yeah. Oh, let's go read quickly what scaled Agile framework has to say about RROE. Risk reduction, opportunity enablement. What else does this do for our business? Does it reduce the risk of this or a future delivery? Is there value in the information we will receive? Will this feature enable new business opportunities? Compared to user business value, what is the relative value to the customer or business? Do our users prefer this over that? What is the revenue impact on the business? Is there a potential penalty or other effects if we delay? How does the user/business value decay over time? I'm talking about time criticality now. Is there a fixed deadline? Will they wait for us or move to another solution? Are there milestones on the critical path impacted by this? What is the current effect on customer satisfaction? Some of these things are hard to estimate, until we start really working on a project, but we gotta do something here. Alright, I'm gonna focus on just doing the RROE for all of these guys, and then we'll loop back around and do the other ones, because it's taken me quite a while to get through these. Okay, health. Having a health system. Movement. Opens up a lot of doors. Platforms. Character textures. Pretty much all the design ones have high business value and high RR opportunity enablement. Main menu. Main menu lets us have a lot of other things other than just clicking play. Localization support. Release game on Steam. There's definitely some time criticality aspect to that. It's like a fixed deadline that I've set for myself. World map. Pretty high RROE for graphics settings. Audio design, Yes. Sound effects. I guess. Doing a gameplay demo. Now this actually does have a risk reduction to it. Having a tech demo very much has both of those things. Map labels, not so much. Having a pinnable map, not so much. Tools and equipment design. Main story design. Tutorial. Yes, that reduces risk of players not understanding the game. Game music. Lower. External playtesting. Yes, that is risk reduction. Opening cinematic, no, not really. It's opportunity for maybe something else. Control remapping. Lower. Chunk loading system. Auction minigame. Low. World props. Low. Offers some opportunity for interesting puzzles around the world. Controller support, opportunity enablement, pretty high. Bug reporting, risk reduction, very high. Gameplay testing. See this, we're getting down lower into the items that have lower business value, and suddenly they have more risk reduction value. Gameplay testing. This is internal gameplay testing. Leaderboard support. I said 5 before, and I don't really know why. I think that's pretty low. Set up unit test. Yes, very high. Okay, raccoon. I'm sorry, but the raccoon is also pretty low risk reduction value. I'll give it a 2 for opportunity enablement. There's a lot you can do with raccoon. There's a lot of opportunities there. Alright, so now if we look, we have risk reduction on everything. Gonna go here in just a couple minutes. We'll go back to the detail view. Okay. I did all of them for the first few. Actually, I'm going to go back to list view because I want to sort by time criticality. So I can do some sort of comparison here. So health. If I don't have health, okay, I have to check on something. Be right back. I smelled something burning, so I had to check on it. It's fine. The oven is cleaning itself. Okay. Time criticality. How's that compared to the things we already got? Health compared to respawning? Health is probably pretty comparable, maybe higher than respawning, maybe higher than inventory system. Inventory system is a 5. We'll call this an 8. Movement. Time criticality on this is pretty high. If we can't move, we can't do a lot of other things. Platforms, pretty high as well. Character textures starts to throw a wrench in other things like gameplay testing demos. If you don't have like these kinds of textures, people just complain that you don't have those things. Gameplay screenshots pretty low. Let's see, gameplay trailer. No super hard deadline on these, but we do have some level of deadline on them, so. Dungeon design, okay. Now the design ones also have pretty high criticality. I'm gonna start calling these guys 8s. Character design, 8. Main menu, not as high. Localization support takes some time to get all that set up, but you can also add in additional support afterwards. Better to have it at launch. NPC textures, pretty high, I guess. Not as high. Maybe 5. Doors pretty high. Buttons pretty high. Save system. It's fine, it doesn't really impede development. Weapon design impedes development. Enemy textures. Boss design. Boss design. Probably wouldn't work on bosses for a little bit. Same with NPCs. Alright. I gotta go now. So, that's some good work. We got TC on about half of our things, and then we can go through and do some epic point sizing. Alright. Thank you, viewers, for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. Give me a like. Check out Gem Smasher, available on itch.io or Unity Play. Trailer or gameplay video on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. Have a nice night.